Thank you. We trust elected officials with our tax dollars. Tonight, the I-Team shows you how some are misusing your money.
They're throwing parties with it. I-Team reporter Lori Quinlivan has an exclusive report on politicians living it up on your dime. Lori?
Carol and Clyde, we hate to be the party pooper, but this is taxpayer money. One mayor justifies his city's party, but the other city mayor won't even discuss it, and neither will commissioners. The owner of this Newport coffee shop hates the empty storefronts on Monmouth Street. He wishes Newport would spend money to attract more people to the business district. But city leaders are spending tax dollars on private parties. The purpose of this party is to celebrate the re-election of commissioners like Jerry Peluso and Jan Nepshield, seen here giving hugs. Held January 3rd at Coconut Grove, the party cost taxpayers $2,800 for food and drinks and $400 more to print and mail invitations. Who's invited? Some city workers, but mostly friends and supporters of Newport politicians.
The people that are here, give yourselves a hand for being part of this.
They invited family members.
My Aunt Ruthie's up here in front here. Please stand, Aunt Ruthie.
It was a family affair.
Since I've been here the longest, I can take the longest time to speak. I have my mother-in-law here, my brother-in-law Ernie, and Chuck, and their son Eric.
Well, I'm all for having a party for public officials as long as the entire public would be invited to it. Then it could be sort of a celebration or a festival. This just looks like a private party that I helped pay for but was not invited to.
He didn't get to taste the chef-carved prime rib, or the pasta, or the fish, or the veggie tray with baked brie and raspberries. Only invited guests got to belly up to the bar for free wine and beer. Is it possible Newport officials don't know that using taxpayer money for alcoholic beverages is improper, according to state auditors? This inappropriate city spending insults taxpayers. That's what Kentucky's auditor told Villa Hills a few years ago. The new mayor has a policy that strictly forbids it.
I don't see where the taxpayers derive any benefit from that, so I just don't think you can justify it.
So how does Newport justify it? We formally requested interviews with each commissioner. They all ignored us.
If you thought this was a good idea, explain the public purpose of it, and I think the residents have a right to an answer to those questions.
So do we. Commissioner Fennell, I'd like to ask you a couple questions about the inaugural party.
I wasn't here, I was out of town.
I'm not talking with y'all, no comment.
Do you think it was a good use of taxpayer money?
I said no comment.
I think we have the most open government around, which is one of the reasons that I'm so proud of it.
I've been requesting interviews with the commissioners about spending taxpayer money on that inaugural party. And I'd like to know,
I'm gonna be on TV right now.
well, how do you justify that as a good expense of taxpayer money?
How you doing? So anyway.
Maybe commissioners prefer to talk elsewhere.
We're looking for Jerry Peluso. Is he here?
He's over in produce.
Produce. Okay, thanks. I just had a question about why you think it's a good use of taxpayer money.
I don't want to be a part of the media service. I really don't.
Answer questions for taxpayers.
I can't.
Can't or won't? How about you, Mr. Mayor? What's your final answer? You're not going to talk to us?
Doing it, no.
What would your advice be to citizens who cannot get their elected officials to answer questions about how they're spending the money?
At the very least, I would certainly try to do everything I could to get somebody else in those offices. I don't even know what city we're talking about, and I'm probably making enemies by saying this, but I think those questions should be answered.
At least here in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, they are willing to answer questions. At issue, the city Christmas party they hold here at Agner Hall. Last year, it cost taxpayers nearly $17,000. There are only about 100 employees, so that's about $170 per employee. Why do you spend so much on an employee Christmas party?
Tell you the truth, it would be hard to say. It was in place before I got here.
Let's break it down. They spent $1,200 for a band, $4,300 on catering, $135 on clowns, $75 for a Santa, and what's this? $858 at Whitey's Package Store. They bought cases of Bud, Coors, and Seagram's wine coolers made right here in Lawrenceburg.
I don't know too many parties in Lawrenceburg, Indiana that's never had alcohol. We were famous for alcohol. That's what grew the city.
You could pay for it yourself.
We've discussed that.
But state auditors told Lawrenceburg officials last year, don't spend tax money on alcohol.
So I'm just wondering why you went ahead and bought beer and wine with public funds again.
That's a good question, and I'll look into that with my council people and the people who approve the bills.
County employees don't get free drinks at their Christmas party.
The county has a party, but it's alcohol-free, and it's basically a pitch-in, and they actually pay a fee for the luncheon.
But for city workers, taxpayers buy all the food, booze, and presents too. Officials spent more than $7,000 on Walmart gift cards for each employee, plus gifts for their spouses and toys for their children and grandkids.
Why, when you have your Christmas party, do you include not only employees, but their spouses, their children, their grandchildren, and everybody gets presents?
Correct. That's the way it's been done for a long time.
But state auditors told the mayor last year to stop with the Christmas gifts, writing, public funds may not be used to pay for personal items. Lawrenceburg uses gaming money to pay for the party. Thanks to the casino, city coffers are flush with cash. Indiana State Auditor Marilyn Rudolph says that's no excuse.
Because it is not a proper use of government money.
What's wrong with taking some of the gaming money and throwing a party for employees and buying some alcohol, buying gifts? What's wrong with that?
Well, what would be wrong with building patios in people's backyards?
Yes, it's a slippery slope. Mayor Cunningham promises to stop the slide.
I don't want any more complaints. I don't want black eyes on this city, and we'll do away with this.
In Newport, Kentucky, it looks like voters may have to tell politicians when the party's over.
Newport City Manager Phil Shefferdini also refused an interview. He's the one who signed all the invoices. Now, Mayor Gaduli has reimbursed the city of Newport $500 and Commissioner Peluso $400 to cover some of the party costs. We are going to send this story to Kentucky state auditors. We'll see what they do about it.
Oh my.
Lori, how about Lawrenceburg? Do you think the Christmas party is going to be different this year?
Yes. Mayor Cunningham says the party will go on, but the city is no longer going to buy the alcohol.
And you know, there's some people who are going to wonder, what about the biggest city in the region, the city of Cincinnati? What do they do in this regard?
Well, we tried to find out, and we heard from a spokesperson who said that the city of Cincinnati did not spend any tax dollars on parties in 2004. So there's your good news.
In 2004?
Yeah. Who knows?
All right, we'll take 2004.
Thanks, Lori. Okay.
Thanks, Lori.
Sure.
Coming up in sports, it might have been a rough